So we're sitting off 2024 with some Sonic tunes. We're going to Wales. What a year it's been. We've done the 3 peaks. The 3 peaks challenge. You know, we've got some big plans for this year.
Number 1, Ben Nevis. Number 2, the Lake District.
And number 3, we go back to where it all started. The whole journey, this whole thing. We're going back to the roots. The Watkins, the hardest path in the United Kingdom. You know, the hardest route. Don't even worry about K2 or Rhino Rock. The Watkins. That is the hardest path in the world. And that's what we did on our first hike. Way home, and it's been a good weekend with the boys. And now goodbye, and we'll see you next time. Bye. What am I saying again? Alright guys, so we just did Snowdon, the Watkins path. It's the hardest path in Wales, the whole of Wales. We knew that, you know, anything that we did after that would be a walk in the park. Oh. What up? It's your boy, Skinny Penis, and yep, it's 7. Take 2. Right, we're back. We had some technical difficulties. Tony poured coffee everywhere in the back of Daddy's car. We have had quite the year. You know, we started off the year with the biggest and baddest mountain there is.
You know, obviously we did Snowdon, then we thought, let's do something a bit harder. So we decided, go on Google, my crib, and we looked up the tallest mountain in the UK.
After Snowdon, I knew we were ready for a real mountain.
Not just any mountain, a mountain towering over any peak in the whole of Britain.
This is a mountain formed from the remains of an active
volcano.
Sorry, that just came out of my mind.
You know what we're doing? Going up Ben Nevis. Unfortunately, there's only 3 of us today. Jack, show your head. First practice hike. You know, we thought we would slowly ease into it with a little 3K. So the day today is Sunday, the 28th of Jan, 10 AM in the morning. Steffi can't be with us. RIP, gone but not forgotten. This is a kissing gate after all.
This fucking guy, man. This fucking kid. I fucking hate this guy.
Oh, as you can see, some lovely views around here. And a shit plant. It's the last time Tony picks a walk. We had to cross the dual carriageway again. And now we're next to a poo plant.
And a fake tree.
Since the last time we saw you, we've invested in some proper pieces of equipment. You might think this looks weird. This is aircraft aluminum. You know what it is? Portable chair. Absolutely. Made it back to the car. We're done. Had to turn around because
It's kind of long.
tight times, you know. Oh, I need a napkin.
What the fuck? You feeling this?
So yeah, this walk was 3 kilometers. It's pretty hard, I can't lie.
What was the ascent on it?
The ascent was probably about 10 meters. It's your boy Skinny Penis and Gunner. This is walk number 2 in preparation for Bender Nevis.
Gunner meal.
Where is Jack? Jack would have wanted to be with us. But he was thinking with his other head today. We've got to watch ourselves. You never know when there might be a bear or something around here. You can never be too sure about your surroundings. Kissing gate. Come in for a kiss, babe. Good dog. A video of Gerald at the back. See that out there? The woodpeckers made that. They get their heads and they just go.
Time for some exercise.
Dude, see how big I am. You know, it really helps out when you like, comment and subscribe, because you know we're trying to make it out of the hood. So that's a 100 emoji from me.
100.
Get Morbius. You know, the 3K was easy, so we decided to up it, and we did 4K.
Basically, we did it in a good time. I was at peak bulk, so I was at 84 kg, guys.
80 kilo mats. Yeah, we saw some cool cows.
How was the weather?
It was fine. It was a bit cold, I think. Can't remember.
You reckon I would stab man up, bro?
Dean won't make it to Ben Nevis, but he's given us some inspirational words.
Outside the window is more than ever. And if you don't see that world, then that's your choice. But I want to go see that world outside my window.
That was exciting.
Where's the sit? Oh, look, sit. Cornered. Wait, gently. Good boy.
Here we are, Jack's new house. Jack started doing crypto. Look at him now. Just gonna enjoy these.
The awesome foursome is back. Jack's back, followed by Columbia Sportswear. Followed by present Regatta.
North Face.
Get a video of Stefan real quick. Like, hit a couple poses, like.
The worst thing. I'm trying to edit this.
What do you think about that?
I thought that was pretty good.
Just come off the back of my head.
Turn around.
Right, Tony, do a pose.
Time to go watch Lord of the Rings.
Number 3. This walk was the foursome. The awesome foursome were back. Jack had returned from his adventures and he had finally come back for another practice hike. I think this was a 5K. Was it a 5K?
4K.
Another 4K.
Guys, this was like peak training. We all needed our water bottles, our bags, hiking shoes. Tough weather as well.
Yeah, it was a pretty good walk. We then went back to Jack's and watched 9 hours of Lord of the Rings. It was a pretty cool day. So we're out here, ready for a walk.
Outdoor life. I'm just about that. So what we're doing today is we need to regain our stamina for Ben Nevis. Basically, we're going in a month.
Doing a quick 5K, aiming for 3 hours, new PB. You know, Tony once ran a 5K in 50 minutes.
As you can see, Jack's not with us today.
Jack's busy again. What does that say?
Where is it?
It looks like some sort of writing from back in the old days when the cavemen. I'm not sure.
CUM. That could mean anything. This has been here for donkey's years. You know, we've got 1 more month till we're at Ben Nevis, so we've got to make sure we know everything. You know. We're fishing.
Let's see.
The other way.
Oh! Bro, the inside are clean as
They
well.
actually don't look.
Wait, they're not even wet.
Wait, they're not. Oh.
No. What? Let me.
We have an engineer in our team, Sam, and C6 Sam. We built one of the best dams and like probably the biggest lake I had ever seen.
How's it going in here?
Yo guys, it's your boy.
So we have officially built a dam. As you can see, look at this. Engineering at its finest. I karate chopped all these logs to get perfect cuts.
Show us where it was.
Walk 4. How would you celebrate doing 4 walks, making the 4th walk 4 kilometers? You know, it took us 4 hours to do this walk.
Guys, this was our last walk before Ben Nevis.
That was the end of our training. You know, we had done endurance, we had done structural engineering, we had done strength, integrity, knowledge. We were ready to book and fully confirm that we were heading to Scotland, that we were going to climb Ben Nevis, the biggest mountain in the whole of the United Kingdom. We had trained so hard for this mountain and we knew that we were ready to do it.
You're all set for Strontian?
Scotland! We're going to drive there and we're going to get to the pub and have a pie.
And then it came 6 p.m. After no sleep, I went and picked up Sam, and then Jack, and then Tony. And then it dawned on me that I really had 12 hours.
So we left 6 p.m. on the day that we were meant to leave the next morning.
I was thinking about how I was going to drive for 12 hours with these morons in my car.
So we hopped on the M25, did some donuts,
As we got onto the motorway, for some reason we were all hungry.
pulled off for our first stop at Cobham service station. So we fueled up on some cheeky chicken from Nando's.
Gunned that as I normally would do, and we were back on the motorway. 10 hours left.
I eventually passed out. I think 6 hours left in the drive. All of a sudden, I woke up and we were at the ferry. And I looked at the time and it says 6 a.m. And I was like, what? Stefan driven all that way with no break? And I looked at Stefan in the wing mirror and he was just like...
So we got there about 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. And at this point, I was about 22 hours awake.
And we looked at the time and we were still 9 hours early for the check-in. And Tony suggested, should we text them and see if we can sign in early? And I was like, Tony, it's 9 hours early. How are you going to explain that we arrived here 9 hours early?
It was the sun was like rising and I could see so many mountains. And I told Tony to like get up and look at it, and he just like lifted his eye mask and just went back to sleep.
So we sat there and we were in this car park deciding what to do, and Tony was like, should we go check on the Airbnb, see what it's like?
Tony decided that we should go check out the Airbnb just to make sure he wouldn't leave us.
That's when we decided to finally send the message that Tony drafted up saying, all right, Scott, mate, I know we're 9 hours early, but can we possibly check in a little bit early? So we went across this ferry and we didn't realise you had to pay a £5 each time. So we got on. This guy asked Stefan, are you alright, mate? How you doing? Stefan just went like...
We had the ticket guy coming up to us, and he was trying to speak to me, but listen, guys, it was all muffled to me. Funnily enough, the Airbnb was there. It didn't disappear.
Then got back in the car and we regrouped and we were like, what should we do? And I think we came to the decision that we should go to the local supermarket. It turns out we had to go back across the ferry, which was an hour drive there.
Yeah. Another hour, guys. That's another hour of no sleep.
We eventually pulled up into the local town, Fort Williams. We got some supplies and then we were like, we might as well get breakfast while we're here.
We ended up going to a Premier Inn.
We went in for a £10 all-you-can-eat breakfast. Stefan was in and out of consciousness. I think he had about 10 Red Bulls.
So as we were eating our food, we were trying to visualise how tall Ben Nevis was. And there was this mountain that was just outside.
Like, that's got to be similar size to Ben Nevis, hasn't it?
We all thought it was like 700-800 metres high.
And then Tony got his phone out and went on the All Trails app, and you can get like a 3D mode. And he zoomed in on the mountain.
It turned out that this hill was 7 times smaller than Ben Nevis.
Then he basically just zoomed out, and then all of a sudden, this monster rock behind this teeny little pebble that we were looking at was saying Ben Nevis Summit. I think I wouldn't say underprepared, but how silly and naive we were to think how easy it would be after we did Snowdon, the Watkins Path.
So after we had food at the Premier Inn, we just sat down talking, this holiday and what we were going to do.
The best thing to do after a hard, a treacherous drive is to do an ice bath.
Decided to go to a lake that was called Locky Lock.
We drove an hour, pulled up at this car park and went for a little stroll, and we were just like enjoying life. It was a really cool little forest. It was so green, all the pine. It smelled lovely.
Boys being boys, we decided to skip some rocks and eventually came down to a betting game.
At the end of the day, I'm pretty sure Tony lost, surprisingly. So Tony was like, yeah, I'll go in the water. I'll go in, I don't care. So then it comes to the time and we all decided to go in the water. So I'm pretty sure I went in first, just walked in, no reaction, I think Stefan followed me, surprisingly, considering he didn't go in the water in Snowdon. So he wanted to prove himself. He had some big shoes to fill following me. So he hit a metamorphosis moment and followed me in. Tony basically walked in and then put his toe in the water and was like, oh, God, that's too cold. So Tony was giving it all large and then he barely went in.
And yeah, time had passed and it was about almost 4 o'clock.
Scotty T replied and he was like, yeah, you can come. And we were like, let's go, finally. Hopped in the Land Rover again, went across the ferry for the 3rd time in the day, and that was another £5. And then as we drove down, there was a petrol station, literally secluded, nothing, one pump, and there was a tiny little shop. So we stopped there. Stefan was like, oh, Tony, do you want to come in and get anything? And Tony was like, no, I've got everything. It'll be fine. And Stefan was like, are you sure? You can get anything. And Tony was like, no, it'll be all right. I've got potatoes in my bag. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, guys, so we got to the Airbnb. We all unpacked. I was starting to fade in and out of consciousness at this point.
We opened up. We were like, wow, this is cool. It had underfloor heating throughout. Stefan finally, after 40 hours of being awake, 9 Red Bulls, he finally laid back down into the bed and just tried to rest his eyes for a little bit. He was going to have a little power nap, And then Tony came in just as Stefan had sat down. He was like, oh, Stefan, can we go back to the shop? I need to get some salt and pepper. And then Stefan got back in the car to drive half an hour back and then go again. And so Tony bought some salt and pepper and some washing up essentials. Tony was cooking his limited edition potatoes from Lidl. He was like, yeah, this is the best potatoes I've ever had. And he was offering it to everyone. He was like, Stefan, you can have some. I've made some just for you. Pretty sure we played some cards. I think me and Jack had some pasta. We were fueling up, And yeah, then we went to bed nice and early. And we were ready for day 2.
Nice. We played cards. We all got prepared, ready for Ben Nevis.
14th of April, we woke up. Some of us slept better than others.
So it's 4 a.m. on the 14th of April. I had a pretty good sleep. I probably had about 5 hours.
We set an alarm for 5. And yeah, I went like that. And then it was just like, me.
But yeah, I was feeling good. We all had our bags ready, so we set off at about 5.
Tony decided to have his breakfast, which was some pasta. And guess what happened? Tony had 1 spoonful of his pasta and then he needed a dump instantly.
On the drive there, Tony needed a shit, and so did Sam. So they had to break into a hotel.
Tony went into the staff-only entrance, and then he went down into the staff toilet and absolutely destroyed it. While we were there, I thought I'd make a deposit as well. It was so hot in there. I literally thought it was a sauna, and I was sweating buckets. But yeah, we made that deposit and we came out.
Luckily, they didn't get caught, and yeah, we were back on the road.
The weather forecast looked good. Everyone was, warming up a little bit.
It was about an hour drive there, pretty scenic.
As we pulled up to the car park, I'm pretty sure there was one other car. Maybe there was literally none.
It was rather strange that there weren't any other cars. We'd figure out why about 4 hours into the walk.
start off at the very start, the North car park. So the easiest bit is, well, it's actually probably the hardest bit, is to try and find parking. After parking, you've got to set up and get ready to go. You've got to prepare, make sure you got enough food, enough warm clothes, enough stuff so you don't end up dying. At the beginning of the climb, we were pretty happy. Felt like just another mountain.
And it was pretty nice, it was green, the birds were awake, and yeah, just nice vibes.
The issue was that we did the Watkin Path. Because of that, we thought we could basically do any mountain after that.
We've done Snowdon and we thought that was pretty cool. The Watkins Path, we thought, oh, that was the hardest thing we had ever done. So, you know, we only did a few practice heights.
Looking back on our pre-walks, it is quite clear how unprepared we were. The longest walk we did in preparation was 3 kilometers.
Emerging out of the trees, we saw what we came to do. Big Ben Nevis.
As we were coming out of the forest, we could slowly start to see how big Ben Nevis was.
Walking along this gravel path, you know, we were stunned at how big this mountain was. The top of Ben Nevis was in the clouds.
Then hit the bottom of the base of the mountain and started hiking up.
We were going to do Ben Nevis via the CMD Arate.
Cool, so we decided to do the CMD just because it was the hardest path up to Ben Nevis.
The CMD is supposedly just this small little hill next to his big brother Ben Nevis, but the CMD is actually 1,220 metres tall. This is taller than Snowdon by about 120 metres.
So you get onto this path that goes up the hill. It's pretty much just a straight hill up. It's nothing too special.
You know, this little path was just going through this lovely wilderness and we were just loving life. You know, the weather couldn't have got any better.
About 700 metres up, the snow started to settle in. I even made a Timberland snow print with my shoe, which is pretty cool.
As we ascended up the CMD, we realised that the huge blizzard that was covering Ben Nevis, it was seemingly growing and moving towards us, which was a bit worrying. The winds were starting to pick up.
Yeah, so as we were getting closer to the peak of the CMD, the wind really picked up, the temperatures were getting colder.
We all started stumbling up towards this big rock at the top. We knew that meant that was at the top of the CMD. But when we got onto the top of the CMD, we then got blasted by about 50 mile/hour winds, and then it would just all of a sudden just stop. So you could stand up straight and be fine, but then the massive gust of wind would come and you'd be like off balance and stumble over.
So basically, I didn't really realise it, but I think I went into shock just because of how high it was and just because of how scary it was as well.
Stefan realised he couldn't feel his hands anymore.
His body went into survival mode and his hands kind of stopped working. They basically just lost the blood flow.
Stefan had gone into quite a bad state.
We all started stumbling up towards this big rock at the top.
This was the point when we all huddled behind the massive rock that was created to mark the CMD peak. We had a quick discussion whether or not to turn back.
We looked at the weather and the weather looked shocking. It went from nice blue skies to just a complete snowstorm.
You know, we had reached that peak and already realised quite how dangerous the situation was getting. Yet for some reason I was so stuck in the mindset that we had travelled for the past 14 hours just to get halfway up this mountain.
Tony wanted to carry on 12 kilometres along a death-defying knife edge with 1,000-metre drop each side, and then towards this grade 1 scramble, which is supposedly meant to be rocks, but it was just solid ice.
Somehow, even though it was the majority vote to go back down, Tony convinced us to go across the ridge.
So it was 2 against 1, me and Stefan, you know, winning, but somehow Tony was so good at convincing us that he said we should carry on, and stupidly enough, we listened to him and we carried on.
Next is probably the most hardest part of this journey, which is from CMD to the peak of Ben Nevis. You start on a bit of a descent, but you're on the peak, on like the needle of the top of the mountain. You're walking across that needle very difficult because if you fall over, you end up rolling down the hill.
Because it was Tony's decision, he was going to lead the pack on the ridge line. Then it was Jack, then it was me, and then Stefan came behind me.
Decided to go across the knife edge. I sat back and just basically followed Sam's footsteps.
We're about 5 hours into our walk at this point, and we had only just started the knife edge, the hardest part of the walk, the ridge line.
I hadn't realised that as we went along the ridge, it was only going to get sharper and sharper. Now this is the point where a lot of people have died before, because you are simply summiting an ice sheet in which if you lose any traction, you go off the edge of the mountain. We were in a complete whiteout. You know, that's when we lost Jack.
We were walking for about 5-10 minutes, and then I turned around to check Stefan was alright. Stefan turned around to check Tony was alright, and then Tony checked to see where Jack was, and Jack was just gone.
And that is Ben Nevis. That is the Lone Wolf signing out.
It was minus 18 with the wind chill. We wanted to get straight down. It was a complete whiteout, and Tony's phone died on the top.
Tony was the only one with directions.
We had to kind of drop up against the side of the mountain because the wind would have taken us off. It was so powerful. The main navigation device we had was my phone. And as I dropped against the ice and held there...
He stupidly had his phone in his pocket, and it got so cold that the phone just broke.
It froze against the ice sheets and never turned on again.
So we didn't actually know where we were going. You know, after we stepped off the peak stone, we just started walking.
We were on these sheets of ice that were growing out the side of the mountain, so we weren't technically even still on the mountain.
Luckily, the Lone Wolf came in clutch.
Then I remembered I received a gift from the Lone Wolf.
And he got Tony a compass.
Which obviously we used, and we somehow managed to find the right direction.
Gave it to Tony just in case we ever needed to use it. And Tony got a map out. You can't beat an old map and compass.
After about 20 minutes, we finally found the first stone to indicate the path.
Luckily, Stefan saw it, and then he kind of took us down, and then he found the next one, and then it was getting more and more visible. You know, we kind of finally came out of the clouds, and then eventually we got down to this really cool waterfall, and this is when we decided to take our crampons off.
We hit the 10-hour mark when we hit the marshland. I reckon this was probably the point that made me most miserable. Everyone was just constantly falling over, and the ending was just... It was looking like it was getting closer, but it just seemed so far away.
And then we kind of just stood there for a minute, and we could see the path where we kind of came out of the trees, but it was about 4 kilometers just in a dead straight line.
And at one point, we had to cross the river.
So we tried to find some rocks to kind of skip across. And I kind of stepped on one, stepped on another, got to the 3rd stone, and then I just lost my balance. And I was probably falling for about 3 seconds, just swinging my arms round. And then all of a sudden I was just in the river, up to my hips. And I came storming out of the river, but luckily I was on the other side. And now it was Stefan's turn to get across. And he was like a little pixie jumping across the rocks, and then he just fell in as well. And then we saw that Tony was kind of just going to carry on down the other side of the river. Tony basically looked at the river, looked at us, and then he just walked straight into it, just stomped through this river and came out, and then we just powered on back through the cool forest.
We were basically at the end now. We're about 2 kilometers out. It didn't feel the same. It wasn't as bright. It was damp. All of our feet were wet.
Through the trees, we finally saw the car park with the Land Rover. This, I couldn't even describe how well this felt to see the Landy. You know, After 12 hours of walking, 2 hours of sleep I had, we were completely ruined. This was the hardest thing we have ever done.
Yeah, so basically we got into the car, put the heated seats on.
I think we sat there for about 10 minutes with the heaters blaring on the Land Rover, the heated seats just steaming our butt cheeks.
And that was probably the best feeling. And then Tony took a picture of all of us.
To commemorate the trip, Tony took a selfie. That's peak 1 complete, and now we're on to the peak 2, the second one, the Lake District, Scafell Pike.
Now I was on to number 2, something that was easy. I could probably do it in my sleep, which is the Lake District.
This time we ragged there in a Bugatti.
And also this time we decided to camp. Sam brought his 50-man tent.
So we had a pretty terrible night's sleep. I think Tony slept face down on the floor in the monster tent that I brought.
We gave Tony most of the space, and man, his watch said he had 100% sleep.
We got to the bottom of Scafell Pike and we just started climbing it. It was pretty easy, I can't lie.
So yeah, the hike itself was actually really nice.
The weather was nice, you know, you could kind of see everything. The landscape was a lot different to Ben Nevis. It was all kind of like big rolling green mountains.
Yeah, the views were just nice, big lakes. It was just really nice and green, really. It was good vibes.
And then we just walked off following this path to Lord's Rake, and everyone was looking like, whoa, where are they going? They're not following the path. And then we just disappeared and then kind of walked up Lord's Rake, and it was pretty cool.
Once we got to the top, we rested for a little bit.
We had a little sit up there for a bit, had a few snacks.
One other thing that I was looking forward to was the vanilla brioche bread. Even though it was for 4 people, I did somehow finish like 3/4 of it on my own.
And then we decided to walk back down, but we knew that we were 2/3 of the way through the 3 peaks, and we knew that we were over halfway to completing our mission. So, the highlight for me of the Lake District trip was probably when we decided to go to the Cathedral Cave.
Once again, Sam came up with a good suggestion to go to this other cave, because guys, we're not only hikers, we're also cave divers.
You know, once again, TikTok came in clutch.
Probably the best bit was like on the way there. It was just really green.
You know, we came across these really cool views. Everything was just so green. The sun was shining. You know, it was just a lovely time. I went up to the local office again. I started scrolling. And I saw that this National Trust came up. I think it was Eagle Falls. It's like the most powerful waterfall in the Lake District.
Yeah, he suggested another activity to do. We went to Aber Falls.
And yeah, we did some exploring, saw some really cool waterfalls, took some pictures.
The trees were huge. They were massive.
Did some modelling, you know.
Yeah, just flexed how insane how our Timberland shoes were.
Yeah, and we had a good day there. And then we came back to the campsite.
And Tony, on the way back to the camp, Tony found a really good spot to sit next to the lake. And yeah, we had a few slices of pizza. Came back to the camp.
I think we fed the local chickens.
We put on the fire, ate some more pizza, looked into the sky, and yeah, called it a night.
It was lovely. You know, the weather was just amazing. You couldn't have asked for any better weather. And yeah, it was just a great end to a great trip.
Peak 2 done, and came peak 3. Something huge was coming. This is 1 and number 2 put together, that makes 3. 3 plus 1 makes 4. That was 4. Fuck no.
That's the end of peak 2. Now we're on to peak 3. Bring it on. The third piece of the puzzle. The last one to complete the 3 peaks of the United Kingdom. We were going to make this the biggest one of them all. And you know what we were going to do? The hardest part ever in the world. 7 days back to where it started. Day 1, Monday, the 30th.
So guys, we decided to go back to Wales.
Fuck me. Wait, do I look wide? Shout out to my barber. Oh, were you excited?
Yeah, I was excited.
I was pretty excited. It felt like the first time.
Got packed up, got ready, So excited to go, getting picked up by Stefan.
Alright, I picked up Sam, then we went and picked up Tony.
6 a.m. in the morning, waiting for the boat to pull up.
Yo!
Where are you spending your New Year's? We're spending ours in the club. See off the year right by climbing. We get happy from climbing.
Get my mullet in it, get my mullet in it. We don't actually, we haven't really planned it. When we get to the Airbnb, we'll plan it.
The plan is to hit the club. Happy birthday, Miles. Love you, miss you. We're going to the services. Right.
Fuck that.
We've just been to Memsbury, we pulled in and we left immediately because they've only got a KFC. Now the tunes are done. We won't get copyright strike like last time. You know, the old vlog's got like 1,000 views by now. So we're literally raking in. We've all quit our jobs.
We're hiking influencers now.
Yep, basically.
That's such a bad joke. Take that out. Fucking hell.
So this means we're going into Wales and we're going to touch down in Bristol. That's where Dean Terence Bryant went to uni. He lives at 31 Pinewood. Whoa. Are we on the Empire State? Like every trip we do, we've got to do a Trivago stop.
Went to Trago, or AKA Trivago.
Shaw's the Mackies.
I got 3 hash browns.
3! After Trato, you know, we played the movie game on the way up. I won the king-size bed in the communal room. We have had quite the year, if I might say. So now, what are we doing back in Wales? Well, like I showed earlier, Monday the 30th of December, we're gonna see the year out right. This is gonna be the trip of all trips. It's Monday today, Monday the 30th. Come take this trip with us.
What are we doing tomorrow?
What are we doing tomorrow? New Year's Eve. Happy birthday, Miles.
Get ready to see some footage of us at the club.
Miles, we're gonna have a couple bevs in honour of you. And I hope you're doing mad doctor stuff in New Zealand. Dr.
Hopefully
Rice.
you're alright after being deployed again.
Salute to all my fellow doctors. James, as you know, us endurance athletes, we only eat the best. For these hikes, you know, you need to have the correct fuel. We got 3 hours left in the car, then we're at the gaff, then we'll do a room tour, and we'll see you then.
Give us that.
Welcome to my crib. As you can see, this is the porch. You can sit out here while the thunderstorm's going on later. So, as we come in, got a nice open plan living space. You know, nice sofas, couple throws. Got a nice radiator, oven, grill, microwave, whole fridge. 30th of December, Monday. Bless this home with love and laughter. Pull-up bar. Then up here, a nice massive open room. I won the movie game. So I'm going to be in the nice Victorian bed.
Okay, wait, zoom into my massive legs.
Shortly after arriving, we've had a look at the weather app and there was actually going to be a storm. I think it was Storm Darren or something. But yeah, we decided to go and have a meeting in the bathroom.
Found out that Stefan had received a message from Scotty T.
Scotty T messaged us, telling us that there was an issue with the bathroom.
A million wet drop emojis.
What was the issue?
So the issue was there was a massive gaping hole through the bathroom.
The shower was broken and it was leaking through the floor.
And unfortunately, the living room was under the bathroom.
The shower also had the worst PSI I've ever
But there
seen.
was a boost mode.
There was a boost mode, but it just made it louder. We watched, I think, 2 movies that night. You know, played some cards. This is base camp until Sunday. We'll see you when we are up in the morning on our adventure.
After the film, we realised how tired we were,
And then we decided to go to bed because we had a big day tomorrow.
and decided to hit the bed, hit the hay,
Hit the bed.
punch the bed.
Oh fuck!
Day 2, I woke up and I had this sniff.
5 seconds.
Tony somehow got 100% sleep score. Apparently his Crapple watch said that he got the best sleep of his life.
100% sleep score.
Tony was sleeping basically on a brick and he slept face down against the wall.
Look at it.
Was it? Oh, it's mine.
What did we have planned for that day? We
Yeah,
were pretty
so-
fucking busy.
Guys, that day started off a bit slow in the morning.
Went the whole way downstairs and played cards for 8 hours straight.
We played Rummy the traditional way, and let's just say Tony got very competitive at the game. We watched one of Tony's all-time favourite movies, Race to Witch Mountain with The Rock in it. Every time we turned around, there was just a taxi driving around. So after about 8 hours of cards, we then realised we were going to be late to go clubbing.
So, as endurance athletes, we agreed that we needed at least 5,000 calories that night
What, for the club?
for the club, and suddenly we had appeared in Domino's.
8:42 p.m. We're literally fueling up for the club tonight. We're going out New Year's Eve, and we'll insert some clips of that because it's going to be so cool. Find the maps. Don't open it. You ready?
That night, we decided not to have another Domino's until the next year.
Which is when? Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Scotty T actually left a bottle of mulled wine. So we were pretty gassed about that, you know. We decided to heat it up and take a quick shot before we hit the club, you know, a couple pre-drinks and that.
Tony popped open the mulled wine and we just started bevving. Shot after shot after shot after shot.
It was like 30% though.
Went straight to our heads, got absolutely ruined off that mulled wine.
Yeah, guys, we all passed out. So I woke up on the stairs and I looked to my left and Sam was just passed out planking.
Shortly after that, you know, we recovered. We were ready to hit the club. Hopped in the Land Rover, floored out Scotty T's drive. We walked into the club, it was absolutely heaving, you know? Absolutely heaving. Right, guys, as you can see, Tony was hitting the maddest moves ever.
Guys, there were so many people, like I had to bump through people and this is what I ended up doing. Like, you know, I was just like, what's up, guys?
The club was lit. Stefan almost knocked out 3 people. Stefan went in a vest.
And yeah, we got completely ruined. I don't even remember the journey home. It felt like I was already there.
I know you're going to say that the club looked very similar to just where we were playing cards, but it wasn't. Like, it was
The alcohol tasted like ketchup, but my goodness, it was so good.
pretty mad. Then we decided to hit the hay, you know. We went upstairs and we quickly... Well, actually, we didn't go upstairs. We quickly hopped... We left the club and we drove quickly to London to watch the fireworks.
Yeah, we managed to get front row seats at the London fireworks.
You even had a bed.
Yeah.
Stefan probably had the best view in the house, I can't lie.
New Year's Eve. We're still out here preparing for this hike. We had a busy day. 8 movies we watched. Literally felt like last year since I had a pizza. With that, we'll see you next year.
Guys, day 3, I was hanging.
The storm had finally passed. We were pretty excited to actually leave the crib.
How do I go faster? Let me.
And then, yeah, we decided to go to Betsy Coed for the second time.
Last night was a movie.
hit the club. Now we're up, crack of dawn.
What day is it?
First day of the year. Literally felt like a year ago I hit the club. The storm has passed. You can see it's quite nice and blue now. We had a pretty mad night though.
I took too many shots of mulled wine and that.
Your waterproof coat is doing bits.
And there was destruction everywhere. All the trees had been falling down. The river was like overflowing.
As you can see, the storm has had quite the impact on the river. If I'm being honest, if I fell in there, I'd probably swim out. But if Stefan fell in there, he'd be a goner.
Sam bought a hat.
Just say Sam bought a Montaigne.
Oh god, I literally can't speak anymore. No, repeat after me. Sam bought a hat.
Guys, Sam bought a hat.
Yeah, what brand was it?
It was Montaigne.
Oh, that's a good brand, isn't it?
Now Sam and Tony needed a wee, so we decided to take a detour, and we did a 10-kilometer walk through the forest.
We're in the elements. The river has quite frankly burst its banks. We decided to get a closer look at the river. Stefan's not happy that we're this close to the river because he can't swim.
Unfortunately, me and Tony both needed a wee. So I quickly just took my trousers down and had a wee on the path in the woods.
Wick piss for some reason. Literally people.
Yeah, I may have flashed a few people by accident.
So yeah, guys, after our walk at Betsy Coed, we decided to go home, and then there was a funny malfunction with the sink. Tony somehow pressed the button.
Tony pulled the tap to basically get the little plug thing to go down, and then all of a sudden this explosive jet just flew down under the sink.
There's a tap under there.
But yeah, and then we realised that Stefan's brioche bread was open under there.
Now I can't eat my brioche bread.
Tony found it hilarious that it was just a random tap firing out water down into his like random void behind the kitchen.
Where is the tap?
I'll show you something. I just want to watch it.
So tomorrow we're going. Oh fuck! Sorry, Tony, I'm fucked.
What's the date?
Some will say the starting of the year where we started last year. I'll leave that. That's a little clue for you guys. The only way to start a year is to retrace your steps. We're back and we're better than ever. And we'll see you in the morning.
As you can see, 9:16 a.m. of the second.
It's gonna be 6 cents.
Yo! Alright, we're en route, guys. As you can see, what a nice day.
After a couple hours, you know, we got to the summit.
We went up to the top, put our hands in the middle once again, had deja vu.
Only took 10 litres with me, so yeah, I was going to fill up all 10 litres, but the cafe was closed.
Really wanted a hot chocolate, but the cafe's closed.
So we started heading back down into the snow. It was vibes.
Guys, as you can see, the snow's coming down on Snowdon, and this for me is anything I could have asked for. You know, it's everything and anything I could have asked. It couldn't. What's the saying?
What was that?
Lighten the load, if you know what I'm saying.
Tell me you're racing for the vlog.
10 out of 10. We had all the weather. We had the sun in the morning. We had snow on Snowdon. Then we had wind. Then we had a blizzard on the top. And then we had hail on the way down. And now you can see it's raining. So, you know, we've had a great day. Let's see. 1,080 meters. See, I'm pretty chill right now, 120. 6 hours and 17 minutes. Signing out. Wait for it. Save. And for all my loyal subscribers out there, you'll be able to see that on Strava. Uh-oh. Look who it is.
Yo.
God, it brought back so many memories. Toilet stank.
We had a really nice drive on the way back, listened to Vaporwave, you know, it was snowing, it was just lovely. The sun went down, you know, it was just such a nice trip. It was a nice day and a nice end to the day. You know, we woke up, it was day 5. As it had snowed on that night, we decided to go out and take the drone out for a quick spin.
Right, guys, so I decided, myself and Tony decided to chill, watch some movies. Sam went upstairs to have a shit.
Just have these TikToks playing in the background, and he came back out with a plan for the day.
I was on the toilet, you know, doing some research on what we should do, and TikTok basically told me to go to this hidden gem, never seen before, you know.
And TikTok told him that we had to go to the hidden jewel of Snowdon.
There were some pretty insane views out over the landscape. Sam made a chair out of stone and took a seat.
I've just built myself a seat just so I can take a seat. We're gonna go to a hidden gem, never seen before. No one's ever been there. We're gonna be the first people. Basically we've got to find the cave. Oh, there's the cave. So we're basically gonna go join them.
Just sat here thinking about life for 2 minutes really quickly. Now, they said this was a hidden gem. There were a few people there.
It was absolutely heaving, so it definitely wasn't a hidden gem. It might have been because about 50,000 people have liked the TikTok.
So we found this random cave. We're like the first people to have found this cave.
No one's ever seen this hidden gem before.
The cave was cool. Luckily we had our Timberlands on so we could walk through the water, and everyone else was skipping around in their sneakers.
We did a bit of climbing, saw some of the quarry, did a bit of thinking as we watched over the lake.
And I think because we're endurance athletes, we're going to eat a very high nutritious meal tonight. But As you can see, we're just admiring the views.
And then we needed to get some food, you know, some supplies.
Where are you going?
Obviously, we were pretty close to Tesco.
Time to get that highly nutritious, healthy meal.
What are you doing over here?
Nothing. We may have accidentally bought a Domino's for tonight.
I don't understand how, but we accidentally got another Domino's. So yeah, we had a Domino's, watched a few more 1,000 movies, played some cards.
After the Domino's, we all decided to hit the hay.
It's bedtime. We've got the sleeper build. Good night. Spin the camera upside down.
Good night. Does it look good?
You guys, there was a shield of ice upstairs. The windows were wide, and then I thought they could go.
Yo, come feel the breeze.
There were just windows on each side. We just had this draft blowing through all night.
It's gonna be a nice night's sleep, to be fair. It's gonna be 80% snow in the morning. You know, Stefan doesn't mind.
Let's go have a look at Stiffs.
We layered him up. So he doesn't get too cold.
Yo, we've got a curtain down here.
We woke up again, Stefan farted. Tony was just sleeping on his front again, just facing the wall. I didn't think he was alive. That night, it actually got down to about 0 degrees, I think, in the communal room.
I had some more TikToks from the office.
Sam came out the toilet with a brand new idea. We decided to go to Aber Falls.
What are we doing today?
Not too sure. What are we doing?
Exploring. Jeez. Guys, we're at Aber Falls. You could say it rhymes with April Fool.
So on our way to the waterfalls, we had to forge our own path. It was we had to navigate ourselves. We had to use our compasses.
Alright guys, let's have a date check. 4th of January, Saturday. So we decided on our last day of our adventures to go and look at Aber Falls or Arbor Falls, whatever you want to call it. So right now, we're basically making our own way to the falls. There's not a path, so we're just gonna somehow get there. Luckily we got a GPS in case we get lost. Yeah, so we're making our own way there. So
Luckily, we made it. We got to the waterfall.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. We were there for about 5 minutes, and we shot off, as experienced hikers do.
Had a look at the waterfall, it was pretty cool, and then we decided to carry on walking.
We were walking back, about to descend down the hill back to the car, and I knew that was my chance to pitch my idea.
So, as we were walking, Tony was doing a bit of research on his phone, looking up locations for a certain food restaurant.
On our way down, guys, we had a very serious discussion about what we were going to eat. Tony suggested a Domino's, and I was easily convinced, and so was Sam. Guys, as the elite endurance athletes, we had burned at least, by this point, we had estimated 8,000 calories for a 6k hike. You know, those are pretty good estimations, so it made sense to get Domino's.
What?
What are you saying? What's going on right now? What's the predicament?
Just taking selfies, you know. The predicament is...
No, there is no predicament.
It's kind of... So it's kind of a weather warning for snow.
Let's go check out. I'm the driver. You chilling for tomorrow? You scared?
Nah, we'll be fine. Oh.
Saying that we leave now, right this second, but he's being a wet wipe.
Nah, we can go now.
He's basically saying that it's harder to be the driver than the passenger. But as you know, it's hard to be the passenger, isn't it?
Nah, it's not. Oh god, can you raise your arms off my... Oh god.
Why don't you do that face in the clubbing post?
What face?
It's like you shit yourself. So, what do you think? Leave now,
yeah.
or do you think that we should? Do you think that we should? Wait.
That hurt my eyes.
Yeah, just don't worry. Just keep looking at the camera.
We've climbed almost 2,000 meters. We are high elite level athletes. We eat clean, macros, micros, nutrients, quality food.
Look, come show the corner. Not just 9 pizzas. That's 10, 11, 12, 30. 2 more just in case we get peckish. Fridge is pretty standard. Some dog food in there.
It's nice.
So built. We've had a fair few pizzas, but like the first pizza that we had was last year, so that one doesn't count. And then we celebrated the new year with another pizza. You know, we had a storm. We couldn't go out in it. 90-mile-per-hour winds. You know, there's trees down on the roads.
And the closest Tesco was next to Domino's, which was too far.
Why?
Oh my god.
Some of us, you know, some of us have eaten more than others. Stefan had a whole cheesecake today.
Oh, it wasn't even nice. It was a very naughty cheese. Oh no.
Yeah, so we're gonna head out tomorrow and hopefully we don't get stuck in the snow. But right now, it's the cards and we'll see you in the morning. Locked up. Another trip done. About to head home in the Landy. That's not very strong. 100.
My house.
Driving home. Oh my, what that? 5 hours. What you got to say about that?
I mean, if you really think about it, there's 3 hours left.
3 hours.
Jeez.
Cured. It's quite a cured setting. Do you know what silence is in Avatarian? Another Mackey's. One burger, 2.
How much did they give you? There's no way that's part of the £5 meal deal.
Yeah,
Like 4 burgers lined up on the front.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't eaten all day, so we decided to treat ourselves. See the date, Sunday the 5th, 11:28 AM in the morning. Tony needs constant pisses. He's got 20 litres of water to get through. So we're just gonna drive, cruising down the M25, might hit some donuts, you know. So we're just gonna drive down here, look at the snow, and hopefully we make it home in one piece. I think this is me officially signing out. Bye.
After our Mackies, we left my favourite city, Coventry, and started making our way back.
So yeah, we had about 2 hours left, and basically the way we look at it, because we've done quite a few big drives, but once you hit 5 hours, you're basically halfway there, and pretty much once you hit 4:49, you're pretty much 4 hours. So then basically 3, and then the last hour you just skip hour 2, and then the last hour just doesn't even count. So you're basically home. So it flew by. Shout out everybody and anybody who knows me. That was our trip, recreating something that we started on April 2023. This is your boy Skinny Penis signing out.